Hello, how is everybody? Hi, happy Thursday. It's hot in the 90s. I'm feeling better though. Oh, you guys were talking. It is very hot here in Virginia too. I don't know if it's in the 90s, but I keep it so cold where I am. I'm usually freezing cold and I dress very inappropriately for the weather, meaning I'll walk outside and have a sweatshirt on because I pump up the air conditioning too high. Hello. Yes, and then I go outside. I'm all chipper and I'm like, I think I'm going to go to the park and take a few laps. And then I realize that it is scorching hot outside. Heat index is 92 here in Loudoun County. It has to be around the same here. Hi, Sarah. It's not that. Where are you from? Oh my gosh, stop. Every time I say my name, my Siri pops on. Where are you from, Tim? Ooh, BC, Canada. Thank you, David. I figured we would take just a tiny. I'll be live again at 8 p.m. And I figured during the afternoon live, we'll take like a little break away from hard politics, even though it's all intertwined, basically. Tim, please explain Trudeau. So, yeah, that's really interesting. Trudeau put, I know you're talking to someone else, but Trudeau put a pause on selling and purchasing handguns. But as far as I heard, that hasn't taken into effect yet because they have to pass the legislation. So I heard you can still buy them as of now. But I don't know if it'll be days or weeks or a month or 2 months until the legislation passes. But he essentially put a pause on the sale and purchasing of handguns. Which, if you want to follow someone for that information too, Lauren Southern is really good to follow. She's been speaking about that a lot, and she is Canadian and someone who owns several firearms. Trudeau and American libs are the best case for the Second Amendment. Yeah, Glenna, yes, I did see. I'm not surprised though. I feel like I already knew that. Because he mentioned that he knew about it before and didn't really do anything. That's just another instance of the incompetence of this administration. They knew ahead of time that this could possibly happen. And there's so many different things that they could have done. What did he have? Operation Fly Formula? Like that could have been done a long time ago, and I don't have a baby, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard one can of baby formula can last you a few weeks up to a month. Is that correct? So if he would have gotten ahead of this issue when he had knowledge of it, we might not have seen such a shortage as we did. In Biden's defense, he just learned about basic economics. That's a good point. That is a really good point. Yeah, and if he would have taken action in April like he did later on, I believe earlier he said he wasn't a mind reader, but he did know about this ahead of time. Hello, Northeast Ohio. Go ahead and get started. Matt, Canada, and get baby formula. We got lots from what is being said. David, yes, he did send pallets. Well, we saw the footage from the border where they had pallets and pallets of baby formula available for them. I actually have a friend who is a Border Patrol agent in Yuma, and he confirmed that he himself has seen tons of pallets of baby formula, and I believe that was being given to them by FEMA, which again is taxpayer funded. And that just goes to show, there's this saying, you can't have a welfare state and open borders. That's one more resource that was lessened for Americans who couldn't get baby formula themselves and given to the southern border. I'm not saying that any baby should be denied um, baby formula or anything like that. But what I am saying is if we had a hold on the border and if the border was secure, all of that baby formula would not have been necessary. Uh, last night, the Daily Wire released a documentary called What is a Woman? And that is where one of the commentators, Matt Walsh, he sort of explores the hollowness and even the dangerous ideology that is gender ideology. I purchased it last night. Well, I purchased a subscription. I watched it. I can tell you right now, it is an excellent documentary, and I'm going to allow you to listen to a clip. And this is just one of the things that the documentary uncovered. But this happened last night, which was really interesting. Let me find it for you. The Daily Wire comes under sustained DDoS attack intended to disrupt the premiere of What is a Woman. So it did premiere last night, and there was a huge attack, so people couldn't have access to it. So Daily Wire came under a sustained DDoS attack during the world premiere of What is a Woman that was intended to disrupt people from being able to have access to the highly anticipated film. We have confirmed that the real Daily Wire experienced a significant sustained DDoS attack tonight meant to disrupt the premiere of What is a Woman, said the co CEO of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. A million requests per minute at the peak flooded our system and created challenges for many viewers. We are working to address the challenges in real time. This actually happened to me when I went in to try to watch the film. I have what they call like an insider access membership, which means that I get access to all the reading materials and I get access to all the videos and documentaries and streaming and stuff like that. It's amazing, and I'm going to show you a clip of it and one of the things that Jeremy discovered. But I will tell you if a documentary is not worth watching. For instance, I didn't think 2000 Mules was worth $20. It was okay, but I think it should have maybe been $5. It might have been worth $5. But this, I do feel like was worth it. It was so important. It was so well done. And it was actually visually pleasing and artistically pleasing on top of everything else, which I think that sometimes conservatives get wrong. But it was incredible. So I highly, highly recommend it. And we'll go through a little bit of it. But yes, they were under some kind of attack. So a DDoS attack is where they basically will flood the system so that actual users cannot get access to the content. And I'll show you what that looked like, or I'll tell you what that looked like for me. So I was logging in, I have my insider access. And I was logging in trying to watch the film. And every time I hit watch, it said, you need to join Insider's Access. And I'm like, wait, I'm logged in. I already have this access, but it would not let me watch the film. It kept blocking me from watching it. So I tried that for about 20 minutes, walked away for a few minutes, came back. It was still doing it. Walked away for about 30 minutes, came back, and I finally had access. So they basically just flood the system so that actual users don't have access to the film. But thankfully that it didn't last too long. I overcome and was able to watch it. But it just goes to show you how they don't want this film to be seen for whatever reason. And I think the reason they're afraid for it to be seen is that it exposed how hollow and, quite frankly, dangerous this gender ideology is. Um, or gender ideology theory, whatever it is you want to say. And I love the film because it also went into the history of all of this. Where did all of this gender identity ideology come from? And it actually didn't come from very good places. There are two individual men who introduced these theories, and come to find they're not really the best men. But I'll let you watch the film and find out. But allow you to listen to a clip, and then we'll read a little bit about who this person is and sort of what Matt Walsh exposed about this individual. So the way that the film is set up is Matt Walsh just goes and interviews a bunch of people, all in the gender ideology world, just all kinds of people, even regular people on the street, trying to figure out the answer to one basic question: what is a woman? And what the gender ideology people will tell you is a woman is, whoever identifies as a woman. And he goes, okay, so what is that? What is a woman? What are you identifying as? Nobody can answer that question. They will say a woman is whoever identifies as one. Okay, but what is that? And when he's asking these basic questions to these experts, even doctors in some instances, they cannot answer the question. And in fact, they get mad. I saw so many people walk out on the interviews with him. Um, so it goes into that. It goes into the dangers and the realities of transitioning kids at a young age. It goes into the history of gender ideology, even travels all the way to Africa and talks to a tribe and asks them what a woman is. And it seems like they were the only ones that were able to actually answer what a woman is. Okay, so this is the person. This is what's a little frightening. So you'll be able to hear it. Actually, I can probably pull up my phone. Sorry, I can't use my StreamYard, so I can't upload videos right now, but I can show you on my little phone here. So this is Matt Walsh. This is a clip from What is a Woman? And he's interviewing, this is a pediatrician.
Female, or am I just observing male gametes? That's what makes me male.
No, your sperm don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality, in truth, okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide? Let's frame it, because you're trying
the chicken has sex like any biological
chicken has
organism.
an assigned gender, but a chicken doesn't have a gender identity.
So we assign female to chickens when they lay eggs?
We assume they're female if they lay eggs.
Male gamete.
So this is the kind of lunacy and just shallow circular a lot of these people. Now, who is this woman? So the Daily Mail actually did a little write up on this woman. So let's look, and this is just one of the many people that he talked to. Matt is wasting his time. You can't reason. Well, I think it was more trying to expose what exactly their ideology is and just show how it doesn't make any sense and how hollow it is and how circular it is. Who is this now? Okay, so Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman, aired last night on the Daily Wire. Walsh questions pediatric professor Dr. Michelle Forcier. She talked about how wonderful puberty blockers are and how they can halt puberty in its tracks. She also said there's no objective truth when it comes to gender. Forcier ended the interview when questioned over Lupron, a puberty blocker that is used to chemically castrate pedophiles. The documentary also interviews LGBTQ activists, psychiatrists, and trans people. In their sit down, she says kids are ready for medical affirmation when they ask for it, even if it's before they have reached puberty. Medical affirmation begins when the patient says they're ready for it, she says. This could be a kiddo who is just starting puberty and they're panicking because they're just getting breast buds or their penis is getting bigger and bruising and they're worried about all kinds of masculine changes. This is when she says doctors can safely prescribe puberty blockers, claiming they are completely reversible and don't have permanent effects. They are wonderful because we can put a pause on puberty, just like to music. You put the pause on puberty and then go right back to where it was, the next note in the song. Just delay it over a period of time. Dr. Forcier also said that his sperm doesn't make him a male and that an objective truth does not exist. Whose truth are we talking about? She said. The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I. She shot back. No, you're not listening. And then it goes into the chicken part. Among the puberty blockers that are used is Lupron, which can also be used to treat endometriosis and prostate cancer. It has been used in the past to chemically castrate sex offenders. When questioned about that in the documentary, Dr. Foister tried to end the interview after admitting that she prescribed it. You know what? I'm not sure we should continue this interview because it seems like it's going in a particular direction, she says. She told Walsh that that he was being exploitative with his choice of words and that was malignant and harmful. I'm saying as a pediatrician when you use that terminology you are being malignant and harmful. It's about the context of caring for a child and seeing the suffering that kids can have and not have been when they not have not been in affirmative home situations. Dr. Miriam Grossman. So this is a different doctor that he actually spoke to. An adult and adolescent psychiatrist said that she has spoken with a mother whose daughter developed osteoporosis as a result of the blockers. I just spoke a month ago to a mother whose 14-year-old daughter was put on blockers. They discovered after 2 years the girl has osteoporosis. That is something old women get. How can they be removing the healthy breasts of 15-year-old girls? How can they be sterilizing kids? How can this whole thing be happening, Matt? She says. Later in the documentary, Walsh interviews Selena Soul, female track and field athlete who said she missed out on medals and qualifying spots when two transgender athletes started competing against her. The first race that I competed as a transgender athlete was during my freshman year, she said. Once the gun went off, the two transgender athletes took off flying and left all of us girls in the dust. Throughout all 4 years of high school, I was forced to compete against biological males. I only competed against them in sprinting events. Every single time I lost. I missed out on so much in my high school career, being that the two of them won every single event that they competed in. It was so frustrating and heartbreaking because elite female athletes train so hard to shave just fractions of a second off our time and going into races knowing that we'll never be able to win. After so many losses, it just gets to the point where you're like, why am I even doing this? Why am I sacrificing so much and training so hard just to get to third place and beyond? This can be found only on Daily Wire. This is absolute Twilight Zone reality. Yeah. When you hear it in such the way that they try to talk about it is in such circular talk and it's such word salad that when what Matt does so brilliantly is he just asks he sticks to very my audio is messed up. I don't know. Let me know if it sounds okay. They talk in very indirect ways that when they are asked with very just simple straightforward questions they cannot answer. And that's what Matt does so brilliantly. He just stays very simple and very straightforward. And as a pediatrician, as a doctor, you should be able to answer these questions. He then speaks to a gender ideology professor at a university, and the same thing, was asking very simple, straightforward questions, and the professor couldn't answer that. Sarah, did you see Caitlyn Jenner on Fox News last night that said, suppose Michael Jordan wanted to say he was a woman and play in the WNBA? I didn't see that. I don't know why. On my end, it's working on right down here. It's going to get to the point where no women ever compete in sports. Though also when he brought that up in the film to other people, they would say, okay. When he brought that up to activists in the movie, they say, "Well, that's rare. Actually, most of the time, the athletes lose." And then Matt gave just example after example after example of how that, in fact, is not true. And speaking of the Leah Thomas situation, there is an interview with one of Leah's teammates. Of course, she's interviewing anonymously. She's blacked out and her voice has been altered. Pretty interesting. Maybe refresh. Although I don't know why I'm saying that. He can't hear me. All right, now let's talk about the Me Too movement and what happened yesterday with this case. Is it the end of Me Too? The Me Too movement happened as a bunch of women started making allegations. Some of those were legitimate allegations against men. The biggest thing was Harvey Weinstein back in the day, and a lot of women started coming out and telling stories about him. And that is very legitimate. But then we got into this sphere of believe all women, as if all women are just innocent little flowers who never tell a lie. And that was one of the dumbest movements, basically saying if you make an allegation, we automatically have to believe women. There's no due process, there's no innocent until proven guilty. It's just she said what she said, and now we believe her. And as a result of the verdict that happened yesterday with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, is it finally over? Well, I'll let you know exactly what happened yesterday. Still people are defending her. Oh my gosh, I actually yesterday I posted just a short little video, and the reason why I think it's such an important time in our culture is because of these stupid movements that everyone just jumps on the bandwagon and doesn't put their brain cells together, and this is one of them. And then it creates an environment where somebody like Amber Heard can make an allegation and all of a sudden she's a hero to all women and she's a strong and survivor, when in actuality she's the crazy one. And if you paid any attention to the trial, you didn't even have to watch much of the trial to see that this woman is not credible and she's crazy. Believe some women. Yes, I think that every allegation should be taken seriously and should be seriously considered and investigated. but the other person should be innocent until proven guilty. Not to say that allegations shouldn't be taken seriously, but what this movement is saying that no, we believe all women. Bleh. And not crazy women. Yeah. Oh, so I posted just this short little video talking about how, we shouldn't believe all women because I believe that there is toxic femininity just as there is toxic masculinity. There are women that lie and there are men that lie. There are women that use and abuse and cheat and do all of that, and there are men that do that too. You should believe facts. Well, that rules out all women. But this is exactly what happened yesterday. And I keep pivoting. So I posted this little video about it, and I had this individual who actually followed me. I'm like, I'm surprised you follow me. I just blocked the person, but wrote, this was on my Instagram, wrote like a long paragraph defending Amber Heard. And I'm thinking in my head, did we watch the same trial? Did you watch like any of it? Or are you a bot? Like, what are you? But I just, I block the person because that person is not based in reality whatsoever. But this is what happened yesterday, exactly. And then I want to read you Amber Heard's statement. So this is the new spin. This is the new spin of victimology that Miss Heard is going to take, which I find really, really funny. But you'll get a kick out of this. A jury on Wednesday found that actor Johnny Depp was defamed by ex-wife Heard and awarded him a total of $15 million in monetary damages. But due to Virginia law, Depp was actually awarded millions less. The jury found that Heard defamed Depp in an op-ed about domestic violence published at the Washington Post in 2018. The Aquaman actress was awarded $2 million over statements Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman, wrote about Heard alleging intentionally messing up her apartment to stage a hoax against Depp. Reason why jury awarded $5 million in punitive damages to Johnny Depp, but in reality he got much less. Virginia law caps punitive damages at $350K regardless of the verdict, but the jury doesn't get told about the limit ahead of time. Therefore, Depp was essentially awarded a total of $10.35 million, and if you offset the number to include Heard's $2 million, the actor nets about $8.3 million. Notably, Depp and his legal team reportedly emphasized to the court that the actor filed the suit to clear his name, not necessarily for the money, and that the verdict certainly did that, finding Heard culpable of defaming Depp by way of her damning Washington Post op-ed about domestic violence. Depp acknowledged this much in a statement following the verdict. So this is a part of a statement that Depp gave after the verdict. He said, 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. Depp went on to say that his life has turned upside down when Heard launched her accusations against him, fingering the media for perpetuating the lies. He said false, very serious, and criminal allegations were laid at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had seismic impact to my life and career. And so that was Johnny's statement. This was Amber Heard's statement, and she has now been found guilty of defamation by a jury of her peers, 7 jury members. And this is what she said. This was her statement right after court. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I am heartbroken that the mountain of evidence was still not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed that what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke about the public and spoke to be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. I believe Johnny's attorneys succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore the evidence that was conclusive that we won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I'm sadder still that I have lost a right that I thought I had as an American to speak open and freely. How long do you think it's going to take Amber Heard to say that she was canceled and then become a Republican commentator? Just kidding. That's a joke. Uh, uh, shouldn't the Washington Post be held liable? I'm not sure. But let's look at a few things in her statement. I'm even more disappointed what this verdict means for other women. No, Amber, this isn't bad for other women. This is bad for liars and people that lie. That's what it is. And anyone that watched 2 seconds of this trial can clearly see that this is a crazy woman who lied and who purposely defamed her husband. And that's what a jury of peers found. What she later goes on to say, now this is going to be a freedom of speech issue. That's why I joked about her becoming a Republican commentator. There actually have been several grifters, I won't name them right now, that actually would say they got canceled, but really they just kind of got exposed for the terrible people they are. And nobody wanted what they had to offer anymore. So they would come over to the Republican sphere, try to rewrite their history to make it seem like they got canceled for something unjust. And Republicans are so welcoming to everyone. I would see them on like every podcast. And then finally they would expose Jack Murphy, Amber, Nicole Arbor. So she tries to make this a freedom of speech issue, which is really funny because she countersued for the same exact thing. She countersued for defamation, and they actually threw her a little bone and awarded her a win on defamation against her. So she got $2 million, which really she didn't because she owes more than she got. But she won a $2 million countersuit for defamation, which is really funny that she's attempting to use this freedom of speech argument when she countersued for the same exact thing and won one of her defaming statements. So it's all a PR spin. Now her lawyers are coming out and saying she's going to appeal, which she has no grounds for an appeal. I do not think that her appeal is. Yeah. So she has to prove a lot of things in order for an appeal to be approved. I don't think, how is this a 1A issue? It's not, especially when she countersued for the same exact thing. And to win a defamation case is very hard because they have to prove that you did it in malice. No, they have to prove that you did it knowing the statement was false. It would be funny if she appealed and lost the second million, lost the 2 million, second million. It would be funny, but I don't even think an appeal is going to go through because you have to prove that something went wrong with it in the case. And the judge in this case did a really tight job. I do not think the appeal is going to go through. I think they know it won't go through. But again, I think this is just a good PR look that they're trying to do. You know, it makes her look like, oh, the verdict is wrong. I need to appeal this, but it's not going to go through. And the money that she owes, so I believe Amber has a net worth of like $8 million, and she owes Johnny Depp at this point over $10 million. Even though she won that $2 million, she still owes him over $10 million. Objection, hearsay. Yeah, it's PR. And I believe she has over like about 30 years to pay that. So he's probably not really going to see that money. She might have to file for bankruptcy. I don't see any movie studios ever wanting to hire her again or touch her with a 10-foot pole. 8.35 million. Okay. So I could see her maybe filing for bankruptcy, but I don't think it was ever about money for Johnny Depp. It was more about clearing his reputation, and that's what he did. So I almost don't even think he's expecting to get the money. She got 7 million already put straight towards it. See, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping that the jury, if they did find a monetary amount, I was hoping that they would do $7 million because that's what she got in the divorce settlement, and that's what she was supposed to donate to charity. Yeah, she'll be broke. No one's gonna work with her. Even I don't. I mean, whatever PR spin they're trying to do, I don't think it's going to work. Is that what she owes? And VA punitive is capped at. Yeah. So they were right. I misspoke. Johnny Depp or she owes Johnny Depp 8.35 million. So that 5 million was put at a uh 350K cap, and then take away the 2 million that he owes her. So she owes in total 8.5 million, or he gets a net of 8.35 million. She did donate it. She pledged. I use pledge and donate interchangeably. And here's this is the Slate's response. Oh, wait, there's one more thing I actually wanted to point out about this trial that's really important, I think. Um, Another strange element of this entire trial is the ACLU's involvement in this. Because, yes, Amber pledged to donate half of her divorce settlement to the ACLU. They helped her write this op ed and made her an ambassador. So let's look into this a little more. This is a weird. The AOCLU has, in my opinion, just lost any credibility that they had. So after a 6-week trial, a Virginia jury, okay, we already know that, testimony and email records produced at the trial demonstrated that the first draft of the Washington Post op ed was ghostwritten by staffers at the American Civil Liberties Union. At the time the op ed was published in December of 2018, the ACLU was touting Amber Heard as an ambassador for women's rights with a focus on gender based violence. In an email to Heard sent a month earlier, Robin Schulman, a member of the organization's communications team, said that she tried to shape Heard's fire and rage in a draft. Terrence Doherty, the ACLU's general counsel and chief operating officer, testified that the organization's executive director, Anthony Ramiro, and legal director, David Cole, also weighed in. Heard was found liable for defaming Depp through two of the passages in the op ed's draft, as well as the headline, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. A time has to change. Emails shown to jurors indicate that Heard made modifications to the ACLU's draft. She also had an attorney vet it in a failed effort to ward off a lawsuit from Depp. On the stand, Heard argued that she truly wanted to defame Depp. She would have used his name, which does not appear once in that version. The Washington Post op ed was designed to be a platform that would launch Heard, a donor to the ACLU, as a representative of domestic violence victims. And internal emails shown jurors, ACLU staffers discussed timing the publication with the release of Aquaman, which co starred the actress. The op ed itself revealed how people told Heard that she would be blacklisted when she became a public figure representing this type of thing. I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. This is really interesting because in the op ed, she is talking about how she's afraid, how she was warned that she's going to be blacklisted and all of these bad things were going to happen to them. Yet they purposefully timed the op-ed to be published right around the release of Aquaman, the biggest film of her career. That just goes to you. Again, go back to Jussie Smollett, that there is a lot to be gained in public victimhood status and saying that you are a victim. And that is exactly, if she really thought that was true, they wouldn't have timed this around the release of one of her biggest film, but they were trying to get maximum optimum exposure. And it didn't say so in any of the things that I read, but they also really wanted to imply that it was Johnny Depp because that would also garner more attention for this op-ed. It shows how bad lawyers can be. Well, you know what's really interesting? They are probably, so defamation cases are really hard to win. So somebody just said it shows how bad those, that it shows you how bad lawyers can be if several reviewed it just so she wouldn't get sued and she ended up getting sued and she won. Well, defamation can be different state to state. And Virginia just happens to have very strict defamation laws. So they pointed out the fact that she purposefully didn't make him. And this is where the lawyers could have screwed up because they might have been looking at it under California law or under a law in a different state, forgetting or not knowing how strict defamation laws are in Virginia. So they specifically pointed out that she never named Johnny Depp. Well, in Virginia, you can sue by defamation by, defamation by implication, which means that you don't have to technically name someone, but if you imply who it is, then you can still sue and possibly win. So maybe they overlooked that fact. I don't know. Yeah, so the Washington Post is headquartered in Virginia, and also Virginia has very strict defamation laws, which was probably didn't hurt in wanting to have the trial in Virginia. So maybe they overlooked where the headquarters was. Maybe they overlooked that part of Virginia law. I don't know. Or maybe they thought that Johnny Depp would never take it that far. Who knows? Yes, that is why the trial was in Virginia, I think. Depp should sue the ACLU for defamation since his lawyers lost for what he said. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of Johnny Depp, so one of the things that happened is that one of the things that happened as a result of this op-ed, which they talked about in the trial, was the fact that he was, days after it was published, he was automatically fired from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is Disney. Who else was fired from Disney? Gina Carano. Um, again, Depp had worked with Disney for years and years. You would think that they would have had his back. You would have think that they would be like, okay, let's see what happens, but they didn't. They immediately fired him. The same with Gina Carano. So Gina Carano now works with the Daily Wire. She's an actress, and she had a very milk toast tweet talking about the dangers of where our country is going with all of the polarization and the shaming of people. This was during the pandemic. And she got a lot of backlash from that. There was a lot of internet people who wanted Disney to fire her, and Disney did fire her. And she actually didn't even find out that she was fired from Disney. She found out on Twitter that she was fired from Disney. So the Daily Wire decided to hire her, and she's been doing really well in making films with them. So Disney, here we go again, just shaming their fans. So this is Star Wars, and I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars. I don't watch it. There is an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and apparently they are introducing a new character. And this character had been getting some hateful DMs, I don't know, from whatever losers. And Disney goes ahead and defends her, which is, I get what you should do, but it just doesn't seem to be the same for everyone else. So this new character, her name is, so the actress's name is Moses Ingram, and she's playing a character named Riva. And apparently fans do not like this character. They don't think character, and got criticism online. Apparently she got some hateful DMs, which isn't good. But Star Wars put out a statement. I'm losing out on not watching Star Wars. I've seen, well, I saw the original movie, and it's funny? When I was little, I saw Spaceballs, and for the longest time, I saw it when I was really young. And I saw both movies, but in my little brain, they were the same movie. So I thought Star Wars was Spaceballs for a really long time. If you don't know Spaceballs, it's an excellent movie, but it's a parody of Star Wars. But I thought they were the same. Okay, so Moses also happens to be black. And Star Wars put out on their Twitter, "We're proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family and excited for Riva's story to unfold. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we have only one thing to say: we resist." They followed up by saying, "There are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist." So here's the thing about that. Like, it took me a while. I'm like, why were they criticizing her? Where did all this criticism come from? And I go comments, and it doesn't seem like they're criticizing her because of her race. So let me see if I can read you some of the comments. Okay, so here's one fan. "Star Wars, listen here. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is mad about Riva being played by an African American woman, mainly because we have had plenty of people of color in Star Wars for decades. Lando Carlson has been in the franchise for over 30 years. Nobody is mad about this." Someone said it effing. Oh, wait. Someone said, "Disney, we'll defend our actors from racist people." Also, Disney, let's edit the movie so the black people appear less in the movie, the Chinese version, and become more and marketable here. Someone said, "No one hates the actor. People don't like that she is overpowered and not built up character. To bring in a third sister that disrespect the Grand Inquisitor is against Star Wars lore, and that's why people are upset. He's the Grand Inquisitor because he's more powerful by far, duh." I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I'm reading the comments and I'm like, the fans seem genuinely mad about how the story went and the character. It doesn't seem to have anything to do about the race of the character. Maybe there are two basement dwellers that have three followers that have said something about her, but this does not appear to be the majority of the fans the more I look through. And this is the stance that Disney took. And they also did a preemptive. They said, if you intend to make her in any way feel unwelcome, we have only one thing to say: we resist. Instead of owning up to the fact that maybe this isn't the best content, you're just shaming your fans. And again, remember what they did to Johnny Depp and Gina Carano. Just keep that in mind. Someone said, I do not understand. Why would anyone make her unwelcome? Is there any drama happening I'm not aware of? Another person said, people don't like her character, but now Star Wars makes it seem like people don't like her because of her skin color. Someone said, why such a negative message? If you don't want to attract criticism, then write great characters and stories. I haven't seen this show yet and was looking forward to it, but it doesn't bode well when people controlling the messaging for the franchise attack the fans like this. And this is like message after message after message. It's like, maybe just focus on making great content. They've been doing this kind of garbage for years now, attacking their fan base. It'll catch up with them someday. Yeah, you can't attack the people that buy the tickets or buy the subscription to the screening services or buy the merchandise. You can't attack them and tell them that they're terrible, awful people. Even Ewan McGregor. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Oh, where is it? Especially given, again, I sound like a, what do you call it? I don't even know. I sound like myself. But remember what they did to Johnny Depp? Did they have his back when there was no proof of these allegations, just an op ed? Did they have his back? Did they ask him what was going on? Like, did anything happen? No. Gina Carano, did they have her back? No. Okay, where is this Ewan McGregor thing? Okay, so Ewan McGregor actually put out, let's watch this together.
The most This weekend, Star Wars fans made Obi-Wan Kenobi the most watched Disney Plus original series premiere of all time. And for that, I would say a big thank you. And it just goes to show what this family can do when we all pull together. However, it seems that some of the fan base from this influential fan base have decided to attack Moses Ingram online and send her the most horrendous racist DMs. And I heard some of them this morning and it just broke my heart. Moses is a brilliant actor. She's a brilliant woman. And she's absolutely amazing in this series. She brings so much to the series. She brings so much to the franchise. And it just sickened me to my stomach to hear that this had been happening. I just want to say, as the leading actor in the series, as the executive producer on the series, that we stand with Moses. We love Moses. And if you're sending her bullying messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world. And I totally stand with Moses.
It's starting to thunder. Ooh, I hope we get thunder. I like thunder, as long as it doesn't hurt anything. Nice thunder, like friendly thunder. I wonder what kind of messages she was getting. But anytime you're in the public, you're gonna get nasty, awful messages. I've gotten them before. Anytime you do anything public, it sucks. So fans are attacking her character, not her personality. They always twist that kind of thing. Yeah, I guess it's easier than to account for the fact that maybe the writing kind of sucks. That's a good point. Divert. Before we go, I have another clip from. All right, before we go, I have another clip that I'll show you from What is a Woman that just premiered on the Daily Wire last night, Matt Walsh's new documentary. And I was referring to this earlier. So, this is actually a professor that he's talking to. He's a professor in some kind of gendered something, you guys. I don't know. But he's talking to a professor, and this is how afraid they are of basic questions. And it's like, if you're comfortable in your ideology, why are you so afraid of basic questions? You should be open to wanting to answer those, especially to an audience that might not right off the bat agree with you. This should be a great opportunity. But here we go.
Start by getting to the truth. I'm not even talking
Professor somewhere in Tennessee.
I'm not even talking about social context. I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting to the truth. Again, in social life,
Why is that uncomfortable?
because that it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're gonna stop the interview.
If I probe about what the truth is,
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you,
how is the word truth condescending and rude?
why don't you tell me what your truth is? And you're walking on 30 seconds more of thin ice before I get up.
What my truth?
You can't handle the truth. TNN, I'll be live again tonight at 8 p.m. if you want to join. All right, everyone, that's all that I have for you right now. Anyone? I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. if you want to join. Should be a little bit more fun than this, but I'll see you later. Thank you for joining. That was fun. 8 p.m. sounds good. Off work. Okay, cool. All right, I'll see you at 8 p.m. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.